Hi, I'm Sven Nielsen, the creator of Stickman Elemento, and this is my software which I use to animate. In Elemento we have a node called the recursive node. Elemento contains of many nodes that you can program and put together. So you usually use the action area down here, but you can also code some expressions. And the node we want to take a look of today is the recursive node, and it is displayed with a branch image. The most important property is the iterations. It tells us how many times it will repeat itself. Then it is a variable, replace variable, which is a dummy node, and this dummy node contains the graphics of the leaf. So it will repeat itself every time it hits the leaf, and then it will draw the nodes, the leaves. And let's just show you. It's not that very complicated. You just have to get used to the idea of a fractal is something that repeats itself. So let's add a tree first. I don't want it to look so straight, so I add some extra points, make it a bit smoother. And I also want the bottom, because that connects all the branches and the tree with the ground. So I want to have a little more detail there. And then I drag this polygon inside the recursive node. That tells the recursive node that I want to repeat this polygon. And I change the brush of the tree because it's hard to see what's happening right now. And then if we imagine that this is a tip of the tree, so we're going to design the tip of the tree with leaves. First, so I add a curve node, and I draw a leaf like this, and change it to green. And add another node. You can also use this tool. Let's pick a similar color, but not exactly the same. Maybe a little autumn in it. So this is the tip of our tree, and we want to repeat this drawing a couple of times. So I want to move this a little down with the camera tool, and I go back to selecting the elements here. I still have not the dummy node, so I need to create that. When I need a dummy node, I usually use the visibility node because it's very simple. You can turn it, and you can choose to show or hide it. So we rename this to dummy, or we can just call it leaf. That's perhaps a better name for it. And I clone it for having one for each of these leaves. So that's the first thing I have to do. When I debug, I see nothing happens. So we still need to do something. I need to program the replace variable property of the recursion node, and that's extremely simple. It's just type leaf here. That's the name of the node it recognizes when it should repeat itself. So when I click debug now, it is repeating itself, but you can't see it because it's overlapping in the same coordinate system. So we need to move the coordinate system by the leaves. And to do this, I will create a matrix node. And since we have drawn the tree upward, this means that the up direction of this matrix is the direction of the branch. So now I rotate this in the direction of this leaf, and then I make sure that I have selected this leaf. Okay, that's the right node, and I drag and drop this inside the matrix node, and then I do the same thing for the other leaf. I move it up to the root of the leaf and then rotate it in the direction of the leaf, and then I put this inside the matrix. Okay, let's click debug, and now we see the tree is branching itself. I can play with the iteration property and see what happens. So I can create a bush or something. If I go here and change the scale of one matrix node, you see we get another pattern. So now we have a kind of tree. So let's go back to design mode, and we want to scale this a little down. And I want an extra branch, so I will just duplicate this leaf using this action. But I need to replace this with the clone of the leaf, so I'm unparenting this and hiding the leaf one now. And I select the leaf here, and I select this button and insert in order, and oops, it came inside the curve. So I put this curve inside this leaf, and now okay, we need to move it. Let's say I want to move it like here, and now we have 3 branches. And if I set the iteration property to a higher number, for example 5, I will get a nice 3. One thing is that this looks a little too perfect. I want to make it smaller in the bottom, and the angle is too great here. I want to change this a bit, so I rotate this a bit little up like this. What I'm doing now is to program the region property, and this tells us how shape I want to have in the tree. So I just if I want an ellipse, I can do that, or I can create a curve and just adding it. We will hide it after we have done it. So I'm drawing a shape like this, and this will be only very approximately. So we remember the name is curve 4, and I go to the region property and open up the code editor. So and I use the function region curve 4 and click OK. And when I start debugging, I see the tree has changed its shape and showing only leaves in that region. I can select this region and move it around. So we want some branches like here and there. But I need to do this in design time, because all changes I do to the tree while debugging is lost when you go back to design time. Like this. Okay, it's not the most beautiful tree in the world, but notice that we want the leaves to be in front of the branches. So to fix this, we need to well, that's okay. That's not very simple, so I'm skipping this. So you can choose what kind of the climb property, or if I change this to it will grow larger around outside the region. So it doesn't have very great effect now. I can create I can increase the iterations, for example, to 10, and this will create enormous amount of leaves. So it doesn't look very good. So you should try and experiment with the settings until you get something nice. If you, I think you should reshape this curve and create a simple shape. I still don't like the shape of the tree. I think it's too big branches. Perhaps you need a sharper end. I think it's nicer with fewer iterations. We could also duplicate the leaves using the duplicate actions. To create some more. I think I just delete this expression. So I open up the code editor and just erasing it. That looks nicer after all. Okay, so this is a recursive node. You can save this and open this in Stickman. I will not show this because That's okay. I will do this. Okay, open up new scene, and then add this node. So I think you can color it. If you want black branches or another color, you can do that. Okay, thanks for watching.